नमस्ते बियोन्ड द बाइनरीको पडकास्ट सिरिजमा यहाँहरूलाई स्वागत छ या फेरि पनि स्वागत छ। बियोन्ड द बाइनरी गेहेन्द्र धिमाल फाउन्डेसन र जर्मन एम्बेसी काठमाडौँको संयुक्त प्रस्तुति हो, जसको उद्देश्य LGBTQIA+ मुद्दाहरूलाई सेन्सिटाइज र भोकलाइज गर्ने रहेको छ। अहिलेसम्म हामीले 4वटा प्रोग्राम गरिरहेको छौँ। पहिलो हो क्वे एम्बेसेडर वर्कसप, दोस्रो हो हाम्रो मिडिया एज एलाई वर्कसप, तेस्रो हाम्रो 7 प्रोभिन्स क्याम्पेन रहेको छ र अहिले तपाईँहरू हाम्रो बियोन्ड द बाइनरी पडकास्ट हेरिराख्नु भएको छ, जुन यो प्रोजेक्टकै पार्ट रहेको छ। सो फार यो वर्षको लागि हामीले बियोन्ड द बाइनरी पडकास्टको सबै एपिसोडहरू एयर गरिसकेका छौँ र यो हाम्रो सिजनको लागि अन्तिम एपिसोड हुनेछ।
And we're back on the set again. So, how are you feeling, Nutan?
Well, I am good. Good to be back. Good to be back here with you.
Right?
तिम्रो के छ हाल खबर?
I'm pretty good as well. सब एपिसोडहरू मजाले हेरेँ. It was really fun, like production aspect ले हेर्दाखेरि पनि, and just like I watched all of the episodes, like सबै एयर भइसकेको पनि. It was really fun. What's a moment that you really liked?
How about we start with you and then I'll answer मेरो favorite moment के थियो भनेर। तिम्रो लागि के थियो?
So my favorite moment in the episodes was between Sam and Rishika in the medical episode.
Oh, it was quite a fun episode.
Yes,
like, medical spare बारे पनि जान्न पाएँ, plus उहाँहरूको personal experiences-हरू पनि.
So it was very interesting to begin with, and there's a very funny moment where it's not really funny, but Rishika was sharing about their experiences with the doctor and how, like, when they were taking their mother to the doctor.
Right.
And that scene is cut by Sam asking Rishika, being like, and when was this? And he,
1 month ago.
Yeah, 1 month ago. And that was during Pride Month. And he's like, oh, in Pride Month? And this was so funny because this brings back to queer joy as well.
Right.
That even in like such a dark like moment, right? It's such a serious moment, and they still find something funny about it. I really like that moment. Really portrays the whole community very well. What about you?
Well, I think मेरो लागि favorite moment throughout the podcast would be off the set. Like calling all the guests अनि managing हुन्छ नि everything and having the conversation, the continued conversation off the set.
Yes.
And getting to like meet them and know them. That really was very good, and
I agree. That was a very fun aspect. Getting to talk with so many people and even like being on the set and seeing how everything comes together. It's such
I know, right? त्यही त मेरो लागि पनि everything like set, camera, production, everything is new to me, and working with so many people for a project, it is also very new to me. So, but I'm enjoying it.
Yes. It's also very fun to see like people of very different professional like enterprises come together to talk about like a similar topic and give their own opinions on it. And I think episode 2 did a really good job of paving way for the entire series, because it brings up almost a theme that I saw that carried out throughout the whole series, which is about school experiences.
Right.
I've noticed as I watched through all of the episodes, I noticed that every queer person had something to say, like how much school affected them, right? It was either cases of bullying or another thing that I saw is like, you know how we shared our own experiences with showing like sharing queer stories or things like that. Every time any other queer person on the show has mentioned it, they've also brought up like, as soon as they brought up queer stories, it was like, oh, you're queer as well. It's very fascinating to me because it showed up in high school, but it also showed up in like media professional levels. Right? And that's so fascinating to think about that. This whole how do I say it?
I feel like the theme continued throughout. The media ko role plus educational spaces ko role. त्यो चाहिँ बट आई ब्याक टु डिफर तिमीले सेकेन्ड एपिसोडदेखि सुरु भयो द होल थीम लाइक इट वाज ब्रट अप अनि त्यस पछाडि सबै एपिसोडहरूमा कन्टिन्यू भयो भने तर हामीले फर्स्ट एपिसोडमै कुरा गरिसकेको थियौँ नि त सो आई डोन्ट थिङ्क सेकेन्ड एपिसोडदेखि दो दिपेश र एलिसाले एकदमै राम्रोसँग कुराकानी गर्नुभयो दे ब्रट आउट लाइक हाउ स्कुलमा अनि पेरेन्ट्सहरूको रोल द एडमिनिस्ट्रेसन स्टुडेन्ट सबै कुराले कस्तो to bring about your sexuality education को कुरा plus more diverse inclusive issues हरू पढाउन र हुन्छ नि perceive कसरी हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ कस्तो मजाले ल्याउनु भएको थियो तर त्यो continue the theme continued throughout all the episodes के that was very something that was intriguing to me as well है सबैजनाको एक्सपिरियन्सेसहरू चाहिँ स्कुलसँग हुन्छ नि the memories they associate a lot of memories they have now which connects back to school के अनि सायद आयामले कुरा गर्नुभएको थियो होला हाम्रो आयाम र निलमकोमा नै हो सायद हाम्रो कम्युनिटीमा कति धेरै स्मार्ट इन्टेलेक्चुअल मान्छेहरू छ तर उनीहरूले एजुकेसन कम्प्लिट गरेको छैन अनि द ल्याक अफ अपर्च्युनिटीको कुरा गराएको थियो प्लस त्यो हुन्छ नि स्यामले पनि कुरा गर्नु भएको थियो
I wanted to connect that because Sam was talking about how there's no representation in the medical field and that's what prevents a lot of like queer people from going into that field and Neelam brought back that same point because I specifically remember Neelam being like we have a lot of trans women especially who want to become doctors who want to become nurses but they do not have the opportunities for that because of the pushback and again it's such a nice way to see like all of the threads connecting
I know right त्यो डट सबैतिर कनेक्ट भइरहेको थियो के अनि द वे क्वेयर पिपल आर पोर्ट्रेड इन द मिडिया त्यसले चाहिँ कसरी इम्प्याक्ट गरिरहेको हुन्छ टु आवर अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ अफ वाट क्वेयर पिपल आर हाउ दे आर अनि त्यही हो स्यामले भन्नुभएको थियो त्यो ल्याक अफ क्वेयर representation in lack of queer people in medicine in terms of medical professionals plus beneficiaries because as beneficiaries jana khojdakeri they don't see that representation doctor haru chaina queer doctor haru chaina so they have to go seek medical help from cishet hetero sexual people haru who do not understand their issue properly ani tyo undignified huncha ke ekdamai plus like queer people don't want to get into medical school medicine because they don't see doctors or त्यो हुन्छ नि मेरो डिग्निफाइड रिप्रेजेन्टेसन नै छैन भनेर उहाँहरू जानै खोज्नुहुन्न के प्लस यो एजुकेसन बिकज studying medicine is a very difficult long procedure नि त अनि to get to medical school पनि त्यो education because you have to struggle एलिजले पनि भन्नु भएको थियो हाम्रो कति टाइम चाहिँ हाम्रो आइडेन्टिटी र सेक्सुअलिटी फिगर आउट गर्दा गर्दै नै त्यो स्ट्रगल गरेर टाइम बिता हुन्छ एन्ड वी हेभ टु लाइक फाइट अल दिस नर्म्स सोसाइटीमा हुन्छ नि फ्यामिलीसँग फ्रेन्ड्ससँग त्यो सबै छ अनि हाउ डु वी लाइक इन्भेस्ट दिस एनर्जी towards something else हुन्छ नि जस्तै अब we see very limited number of queer people as medical professionals, entrepreneurs or in white collar jobs त्यो किन भन्दाखेरि त्यो ल्याक अफ त्यो स्कुलमा बुलिङ भएको छ
सो एलिजको कुरा गरेपछि दे अल्सो बट अफ दिस पोइन्ट अफ लाइक ह्याभिङ सेयर्ड ट्रमा एन्ड now that I think about it, that thread that we're talking about, it's shared trauma through any like school level ma pani it's that shared trauma of being bullied or harassed, right? Or just having a very difficult time finding your own identity as illicit. And even in medical school, which I think Sam talked about, where they were like, yeah, I really struggled, right? So this thread is also a lot of shared trauma that a lot of queer people go through themselves.
Also, another thing that stayed with me is documentहरू एकदमै चाहिन्छ नि त if you go to a school if you want to get higher education ल 8th grade देखि you have to have legal documents about तपाईको identity हुन्छ नि यो born भनेर अब birth certificate देखि लिएर सबै कुरा चाहिने हुन्छ है अब 8th grade देखि त्यो conflict with gender and identity सुरु हुन्छ ल 8th grade 18-year-old सम्म त उसलाई थाहा छैन होला हुन्छ नि फिगर आउट गरा छैन होला बट फर्दर त त्यो डकुमेन्टहरू पनि चेन्ज गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ नि त अनि लेट्स गिभ एन एक्जाम्पल अफ अ ट्रान्स वुमन है ट्रान्स वुमन who is they are figuring out like 8th grade ma they give their district level examination 8th grade ko board examination with their gender identity as a man ani tar as they go further with life and explore their gender identity they come in terms that ma ta transgender woman rahichu but I don't want to undergo surgery ani Susan le we were talking about this earlier right Susan le kasto mazale भन्नु भएको छ भने हाम्रो सिटिजन के रे हाम्रो कन्स्टिट्युसन ले नै कस्तो सर्जरी like emphasis गरिरहेको छ transitioning
so it's the opposite right so Susan says our constitution shouldn't emphasize gender identity with surgery
right
which I think is so true because not everybody wants to go through surgery
and
exactly. Not everybody gender identity is connected with that right so people transition
plus अर्को कुरा भनेको नेपालमा मेडिकल केयर हाउ फ्रेन्डली इज इट फर क्वेयर फोक्स के प्लस त्यो सर्जरी जेन्डर रिअसर्मेन्ट सर्जरी गर्नको लागि त नेपालमा त्यो फेसिलिटी नै छैन है सो कमिङ ब्याक टु दिस एक्जाम्पल अफ ट्रान्सजेन्डर वुमन who has figured out that she is transgender and she does not want to transition right she does not want to like medically surgically change her biological sex तर अनि उहाँलाई though she is very good at her studies she wants to pursue medicine नै for example तर उहाँको लागि त अब legally it's a big battle नि त अब
speaking of battles है भएर I just remember this moment so यो पनि ल एपिसोडबाट है Susan was talking about this moment where as so there was a rally he talked about this there was a rally of couple queer people and someone heard about this and when they realized they were trying to establish like an organization they were like oh this is unnatural we need to prevent it we cannot let them have their own organization and it would grow so they took it to the Supreme Court and then like when the Supreme Court was like we're not going to do that then I think they like repealed it but I think that's the word like they fought for it even harder and I was like that's such a fascinating look onto our history because we don't really hear about those things anymore like a lot of older queer people we don't hear from them a lot so that was also a very good story I think
तर as we know that queer movement in Nepal established it has not been that long neither so there's a limited history to it and we hear from those who have been in power within the queer movement pani ko cha power ko tyo wheel ma and this comes back everything is so well connected okay this comes back to the privilege wheel right that we were talking about earlier intersectionality ko kura within the queer movement everything huncha ni we see as general population ke re yo gender in binary terms but within our segregated movements haru huncha yo different movements haru ma pani we see things within these movements pani in very binary constructs and terms ke hamro safal le भन्नु भएको थियो when I joined in the queer movement मेरो proper representation चाहिँ मलाई फिलै भएन किनभने I come with a layered multiple identity भनेर भन्नुभयो and हो त एउटा पर्सन हैन दे डु नट जस्ट ह्याभ एन आइडेन्टिटी एउटा बक्स मात्रै टिक गर्ने हैन नि त उहाँ बिङ एन indigenous queer folk with disability उहाँको struggle is so different than say मेरो struggle as a woman or I don't know
just a gay man from Kathmandu it can be very it can be radically different
yes
and it's also funny because this is why I think media representation is so important because we always tend to think of it they can either be queer or disabled or from one community when usually they overlap quite a bit because when you're figuring out your identity, right, you also go into other aspects of your life and realize, okay, so maybe this might be happening. So it's a lot of overlapping. And this whole intersectionality wheel is something I actually learned when I was taking a training for multicultural settings. It was for a psychological thing. I was like, this fits so perfectly into that, especially considering how like mental health in the community works. Because again, we talked about how hard it is, right? And especially, of course, mental health issues are going to pop up. And again, this comes back to the medical field. We don't have a lot of resources for help either.
Coming back to my example of a person, a transgender woman who wants to join into medicine, but again, like there are so many barriers already. With that, अरू के हुन्छ भने the bullying, the pushback that comes with the struggle. Okay, they might fight for it, but since like already queer folks, they don't see queer folks in medicine होला या त्यो professional setting मा नहुँदाखेरि people like calling names अनि stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah, त्यो कस्तो आफ्नो डिग्निटी र मेरो डिग्निटी र प्राइड त्यहाँनिर छ कि छैन भनेर हेरिन्छ नि त. त्यही भएर पनि होला पिपल क्वेयर फोक्स त्यो कम्युनिटी सेन्स अफ कम्युनिटी जहाँ फिल हुन्छ त्यतैतिर जानुहुन्छ. वी सी मोर क्वेयर फोक्स इन इन्टरटेनमेन्ट इन्डस्ट्री, मोर ग्रोइङ अहिले सोसल एक्टिभिजमतिर होला है, बिकज त्यहाँ अलरेडी एउटा मास छ नि त. दे सी देमसेल्भ्स इन देम, सो दे फलो द्याट ट्रेल. त्यही हो.
That is also something we all do though. Like we always want to belong in a space.
Yeah.
And we always want to be in that like safe space. So it is, I think it's very natural that people also fall in line to that.
But at the same time, it's about time that we challenge these dominant discourses. Like Niranjan and Madhurima discussed, right? Because त्यही त्यो एउटै सर्कल त्यही बाइनरी वेमा गएर त चेन्ज कहिले पनि हुँदैन.
There's also, I loved that Niranjan brought up like polygamy and all of that thing as well. Because here's the thing, we tend to think that humans in nature are just like monogamous, which again, it's such a fluid thing. We all are individuals and we have such different opinions, even on like, I don't think we can agree on what one color is, right? You and me. Like, we might be like, this is kind of different for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What color do you... This is...
Orange.
Orange?
No, someone might say, I don't know, it's blood orange, right?
It's not blood orange. Is it?
But I'm just saying...
I mean, colorblind banda huna sakcha ni. You might see it as green. I might see it as yellow or green, right?
Exactly. So every person is so different.
Lens perspective ko.
Yes. So I think it's like, I don't think we should box ourselves very easily into this binary that we should do this, we need to be this person. I think that's, as like queer people who are always trying to break the binary and break through these boxes, I think like closing yourself in like that, just with like one monogamy and things like that, I think that's a very fascinating aspect as well.
मलाई चाहिँ the way they talked about marriage, it was very interesting to me. Both of them, like हामी 40s मा भइसकेको मान्छेहरू, like the pressure and everything, and the hair को कुरा मधुरिमाले गर्नुभयो है.
So the hair thing was such a blast to the past, because I had shaved my head once, and I remember, so I shaved my head right before I joined college, by the way. So I went to class, I sat down and I talked to a few people, and as only a couple of months later, one of my friends approached me and I was like, I was so nervous to talk to you because I thought you had cancer and I didn't want to offend you, but I wanted to ask. I was so curious. And
I was afraid to approach you because you had cancer. Wow. I cannot.
I think
what do they even mean?
I think they were just like kind of afraid. It's very hard to ask someone outright that, do you have cancer?
You don't have to ask them, like, किन चाहियो के मान्छे हाम्रो बानी के छ भने, I don't know, it's Nepali trait हो कि South Asian trait हो कि Asian trait हो कि यो basic human trait हो, तर यति धेरै चासो लाग्छ हामीलाई.
We're just curious creatures, like humans.
Yeah, I guess curious. But if it does not impact my life, if it does not concern my life at all, then why do I need to know like personal details about this other person? त्यो हुन्छ नि लेबल गर्नै पर्छ के. Oh my god. Yeah. त्यो बक्ससम्म राखेन भने आफूलाई खुस हुने जस्तो.
I think it's just we all have very preconceived notions of what we think normality is, right? हुन्छ नि जस्तै फेमिनिटी हो यही नै हुनुपर्छ, कपाल लामो हुनुपर्छ, मेकअप लाउनुपर्छ, अलिक चिटिक्क भएर हिँड्नुपर्छ होला छ होइन. So again, I should emphasize, I went into that class with a bald head. I was wearing the baggiest clothes ever. And my classes start at like 6:30 in the morning. I was hella tired. So I probably looked...
Wow, that actually is giving me an idea because I too have morning classes. So कपाल कोर्न त पर्दैन, at least एउटा टेन्सन कम हुन्छ. म अनि शेभ गर्छु.
Honestly, I highly recommend like shaving your head. It gives you that I feel like I have been confined with femininity all of my life, right? People have always insisted that I like pink, and like I like pink, but it's not everything has to be pink, right? So when I shaved my
pink
head,
hair when we first met.
Yes, I used to have very long hair when we first met, but so shaving off my head gave me like a sense of self that was not feminine, you know, like because I've never been a very quote unquote traditional woman. So like that was the last piece of it, you know. I was like, okay, cool. And now I can do anything. Like if I dress androgynously, I don't really care that much. Like I don't really care even when people come up to me and be like, oh, you kind of look like a dude. I'm like, yeah, cool. I look like a dude. So it gives you that freedom.
I'm just curious, what was your parents' take on you shaving your head?
My mom loved it.
Wow.
She loved it so much. And my dad, I don't know why, my dad usually is like, whatever, do whatever you want, but he was like, I don't like this. And I think it's because I looked exactly like him when I was his age, because I went to my grandma's and my grandma was like, you look exactly like your dad when he was your age. And I was like, I see, that makes sense. But yeah, my mom loved it. She wanted me to do a whole photo shoot.
Wow. What's the photo shoot?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay. On the other hand, मेरो family back about they would be completely against it, I think, of me shaving my hair. मेरो एउटा रिलेटिभले पनि मलाई के अरे महिलाहरूको नारीहरूको सरी के अरे भनेको कपाल अनि त्यस पछाडि वेट आई फरगट एक्ज्याक्टली वाट सी सेड. मेरो भाउजूले भन्नुभयो मलाई कपाल लामो पार्नुपर्छ. मैले लास्ट इयर जस्तो छोटो पारेर काट्दा थिएँ कि अनि के अरे मैया तपाईँले किन काट्नु भएको, तपाईँको त कस्तो राम्रो लामो कपाल थियो भनेर भन्नुभयो. अनि त्यस पछाडि मेरो कपाल एकदमै झर्न थाल्यो भनेर भने. अनि या अनि छोटो
आई गेस इट्स अल्सो तिमीले त्यो नारीको यस्तो हुनुपर्छ होला हैन. इट्स भेरी मच के भन्छ traditional wala thing huncha ni.
Yeah, traditionally stereotypically all the norms suggest that we have to be feminine, long hair, soft spoken. But I like to rebel against it.
I know so like you asking one, a lot of people call my parents very Western influenced wala huncha even gandincha wala. I don't really think so. I know, like it's always like not just like your feminine wala matra pani haina, just like queer history in general. Like it's not limited to just Western ideology. Like hamro, like Niranjan said in like his episode on Sunny, there is history of queer people, trans women, intersex people in our religious texts as well.
Yeah,
right. And a lot of our religious text is also kind of based on our history, right? So another thing I think
our culture is highly influenced by our religions.
Yes.
Hinduism mostly like about South Asian context Hinduism has been like dominant for so long. And not just Hinduism, even Islam Sudhichale bhanako थियो. It has always been there. And kasto dignified representation haru pani cha within Hinduism bhanne kura. Tara we tend to like suppress that.
Yes. We tend to ignore those aspects.
Yeah, we tend to suppress and ignore that
ignore
aspect.
वालामा चाहिँ के याद आयो भने आइएमले भनेको थियो he runs Queer Monday,
right?
And he talks about how when they go to temples and stuff like that, and he explains how there's usually in Nepali temples, I think, one
transgender.
Yes, and that is something I didn't know until that episode.
The tantric mandirharuhama, there's always a transgender like murti guiding,
yes, guarding
the temple jasto.
अनि यही रिजनले चाहिँ a lot of people tend to say Nepal is so progressive भनेर, and I don't remember in which episode exactly, but someone said this: Nepal is not progressive, it is more tolerant.
That was Madhurima.
Yes, I love that quote so much because it encapsulates Nepal perfectly.
Right.
Because we don't, like, again, we've heard all of the stories from queer people. We know, like, as progressive as we think it is not. However, it is way more tolerant.
Right.
So, yeah, that is also like a fascinating way those things correct.
It's home. It is because so diverse and we tend to international market ma bikaunako लागि we're so progressive, our laws are so progressive, we're so accepting this and that भन्यो तर okay even constitution ma नि छ तर it is so entwined and confusing
it's
and not implemented.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing.
It lacks in implementation.
So we have a lot of laws. In the constitution itself, as we learned, that it has
त्यो एक्ट्सहरु साइन गराछ इन्टरनेशनल एक्ट्सहरु है.
Yep. But then implementation मा छैन. What are we really doing to
society as a whole, like how does it perceive these issues, like mostly queer issues or marginalized indigenous community हरुको कुराहरु. As we talk about मूर्ति है तान्त्रिक मूर्तिको पनि कुरा आयो, and divine power, religion, belief systems and all that. I really wanted to like talk with you about a question that Rick asked, like about superpowers. मलाई कस्तो रमाइलो लाग्यो, like हाम्रो imagination कस्तो खतरा हुन्छ, and what if you had a superpower, what superpower would you want भनेर भनेको थियो. What would you want to me?
So I've thought about this, weirdly enough. Before Rick posed this question, I've always thought about this.
Always?
Yes, I love superhero movies and comics.
I know.
Yes, I'm a big nerd, right? So I've thought about it. And it is teleportation. But like very accurate teleportation. I can go anywhere.
What does that mean? Accurate.
If I start explaining this is going to take too long. But basically the earth moves always. So you can just like, teleport anywhere. You can be in space and you'll die. So,
what?
It's a whole
that got
thing.
A little dark.
I don't want to explain the whole thing, but basically, really good teleportation. So, because I can go anywhere I want, right? Just like if I want to go to Mount Everest, I'm there. I want to go to like the beach, I'm there. Nepal even doesn't even have a beach.
Yeah, I've never been to a beach.
So I think that would be my superpower. Like, what would be yours?
I have to think. I don't know. I was just interested to know what you would answer. Afnu ke superpower चाहिन्छ.
How have you never thought of this?
No, I have actually thought of it, but it won't be original because Rick himself has to like. I would like to be invisible. That, and I think super strength too. Like, I really wish I was strong enough to knock someone like in one punch.
I thought you were about to say knock someone like you out, and I was like, what did I do?
No, not you. Yeah, I really wish like public transport, especially हुन्छ नि सबैजना गरेर एक्लै हिँडिरहेको क्याट कल गऱ्यो भने यस्तो हान्दैन लडिहाल्छ. Yeah, that would be great actually. I feel like, म काठमाडौँ आदि male population सबलाई लडाइदिन्थ्यो होला.
This is why you need teleportation. No ever thought of transport.
But that would be a protectionist approach to yourself, Nita.
I will teleport you.
Huh? No, मैले भनेको if and this applies to our laws as well, okay? Like limiting everything.
Yes.
Limiting everything. अब जस्तै अब राति हिँड्दाखेरि महिलाहरूलाई गाह्रो भयो भनेर 7 बजेदेखि महिलाहरू नहिँड्ने है. अनि आफै लाइक टेलिपोर्ट गरेर अर्को ठाउँमा जाने भन्दा त I'd rather travel in public transport
and knock people out.
Yeah, they deserve it. if the system is not doing its job protecting, I mean not protecting, making the space safe for me, then
Yes.
I'd do that myself.
I think the better
But it's
way
not
to
very
is
moral.
actually change those laws
Yeah.
and work on policy level rather than knocking people out.
I mean, there are laws and policies, but how well has it worked out for us? I think we're moving off topic now. I mean, yeah. But it has been a fun journey so far, Aisumi. Watching all these episodes, meeting with all our guests, and our journey, like Beyond the Binary 2024 journey so far, it has been so great. And we've also started our 7 province campaign to and interacted with so many students, and it has been so great hearing from them. We hope this continues further, and
Right? I hope there's a second season.
Yeah, me
and
too.
we can have a conversation like this again, because it's always so fun to see all the discourses and what is just generally going on, what is our thoughts and opinions on it, also what is other professionals' opinion on it. I would love to hear more of that.
We tend to think that there are not many representations,
Right.
and there are not, as much as we need, needed representations, but there's so many people working in this issue in different fields. हाम्रो education को लागि we had
Medical
guests,
को लागि
medicine को लागि, law मा भयो, in entrepreneurship,
Right.
and various other fields. We had all these guests, and they're like very good example that there
Right.
are queer folks and allies who are working in all these different sectors. And if you are someone who wants to come out or who wants to share your story, or someone who's struggling with it, then you
Right.
should know that there are people like
Right.
you who have struggled and done all these amazing things too. So and they will be there if you need them. If we continue it further, then I hope that it proves as an example, and as for people who are struggling, plus parents,
Yes.
and people,
I hope-
everyone in
yes.
general, to look up to all these amazing guests that
Yes.
we will have. I hope that's about it. Keep following us and keep yourself updated on all the content that we make and all the work that we do. Thank you for watching us.